My wife survived cancer and asked for a hall pass. My wife and I have been together since 1999 and married since 2001. She is the smartest, kindest, most loving, faithful person I know, and I have always felt lucky to have found and married her. She is, even today, stunningly beautiful, and men have complimented her on this throughout our marriage. She has always rejected them. Earlier this year, she was diagnosed with uterine cancer, stage 1, and had a complete hysterectomy. I was never worried about the cancer. It was detected early, treated quickly, and she recovered fully. I took time off work to care for her after the surgery, and everything seemed fine. There were some understandable emotional moments on her part, and even though I am not an emotional person, we handled them together. After her recovery, she insisted that we start living life to the fullest and took a 10-day trip to Europe, followed by a trip to Belize. We also have a trip to the UK and Spain, Portugal later this year. I am okay with these things, making memories and ticking off bucket list adventures from our list. I also get that these are a result of feeling vulnerable on her part. She also took up yoga, swimming, and healthy cooking classes. I was totally supportive until last week. Last week, she came home from work and told me she wanted a hall pass, a one-time opportunity for her to sleep with someone other than me. She said that since her cancer diagnosis, her perspective on life has changed, and she doesn't want to be restrained from doing things she wants to do. She explained that there is this guy at her work that she has always felt some attraction to. He is leaving the company, and she will never see him again, so this is the perfect chance to sleep with someone else. She said that I could say no, of course, but that she would be angry, upset with me for an indefinite amount of time, and that it would be proof of my male toxicity and insecurity. I wouldn't say I'm toxic, but if not wanting your 20-plus-year-old wife to sleep with another man isn't insecurity, I don't know what is. I told her that I was grateful for her talking to me about this, but consent via pressure is not consent. I also said that I did not like her language in describing my, as of yet, unknown response to this very big issue that could affect the rest of our marriage life. I woke up in the morning and she basically said that she was sorry for putting such a big decision only on me, and that to help, she was taking the decision away from me. She booked a hotel near where her coworkers are having a party, farewell for this guy, and she would spend the night there with him and hoped that I would be here when she came back, that she would answer any questions I have about the night after it happened, but not before. She will not tell me who he is or anything about him because she knows me too well, and that I will obsess and fixate over him, and that would make it too real for me, which is pretty accurate. Her POV is that the less I know the better, which contradicts the offer to tell me anything I want to know after it happened. I think she knows I won't want to know, ask anything, or she simply will not tell me. Part of me thinks maybe I should just let it happen since she has been honest with me, and she has gone through a lot since finding out she had cancer. I certainly have no clue of what she experienced, so I cannot ignore how this impacted her mental state, outlook on life. Part of me wants to say this is not gonna happen and face those consequences when they come. Her BFF called me heartless for even thinking that I wouldn't let it happen, because I have no idea what she went through. I find it hard to believe that she is okay with the risk of ruining 20-plus years of marriage over some guy that she has had no connection with outside of work, and that I should just challenge her. Maybe she thinks the same way that I won't end the marriage because of one encounter. I just don't know what to do. I sympathize with her, and then a moment later I am furious with her. Part of me wants to know who this guy is. What does he look like? What does he have that is so captivating for her? Is he just a convenient option? Is he married? Does his wife know? Would I be a cruel jerk for saying no? What can I do besides leaving? Top comment, I guess this is how your marriage will be from now on. With her revelation, she wants to redo her life, and she is going to do it no matter what you feel. I think she is being very selfish, and probably only dares this because she thinks you are worn out and will just accept it. Maybe not the best time for travels and luxuries. She wants the single life. Let her experience what that entails. OOP replies to some comments. She thinks because this guy is a stranger to both of us, and that she will never see him again, that it won't really hurt me or our marriage in the long run. I am left with letting it happen and never looking at her the same way again or ending our marriage at 54. Not really good choices on either side. I don't know what she is thinking, and the cancer scare is influencing her in ways that I can't even fathom. I don't think she expects me to go. Update, the 28th of June, 2023. I got a lot of advice that I couldn't possibly reply to. It has been a draining couple of days. I was hoping that my resistance to her plans would make her rethink. But sadly, that did not happen. I said I am a firm no, and I am not sure how I will react to you if you do this. I was faced once again with, this is for me, it will be one time, what can I do to help you cope with it? You'll move on. We were destined to be no matter what the situation comments leading up to Saturday. She left Saturday, supposedly to join her coworkers, but actually she was going to sleep with him. I asked her to text me when she was leaving for the bar, and when she did, I asked her if she was really going to do this. After her reply, I am not answering any more questions tonight. I will see you tomorrow. I blocked my wife. Then I did something either foolish or smart. I went to the bar where the gathering was happening. Well, not the bar, but a transit bench across the street. I waited for a long time. It was going through my mind before this event that I need to know who this guy was, maybe to measure myself against him, to see what he had that I don't. It was driving me mad not knowing who he was and what was so special about him that she would wreck a marriage for. After what felt like forever, a woman that I recognized from my wife's office left the bar and got in a cab. Soon other people started coming out and a whole group came out and people were hugging a man and shaking his hand. I guessed that I had my guy. I didn't see my wife and had a brief thought that maybe she changed her mind. I unblocked her and there were no messages. Everyone said their goodbyes and left. Dude was standing outside for a few minutes, and then my wife came out. She looked around, took his hand, and started walking away together. Of all the emotions I went through, fear, sadness, anger, it was revulsion that really summed up the event for me. This guy was short, fat, and bald, all the things I can't compete with. Ultimately, I felt like a creep for watching from a distance. I followed until they got to the hotel, and then turned around and went home. I woke up Sunday morning and put a lock on the master bedroom door. I moved her things to the guest room and left a note asking her to find other places to stay as soon as possible. I visited another friend who is a lawyer, and he gave me some wise advice and a couple of suggestions for divorce attorneys, and made the connections. My wife had been calling me numerous times since around 11 or so. Once blocked, the calls go to voicemail. I listened to the first couple, but felt nothing but some relief when she couldn't get through to me, and she was obviously worried. I didn't want to go home, but I left in such a rush that I didn't plan an overnight properly. I got home around 9, and as per my buddy's advice, I recorded the conversation. I was halfway up the stairs when she came up from the family room, asking what was happening. Could we talk? I thought we talked about this. I just answered with, I am not interested in talking about this tonight, and went to bed. After not getting a reply from me through the door, she left me alone. I feel kind of like a child for not speaking with her and closing the door on her, but I just couldn't face her. Monday, I got up and ready for work. She was waiting for me and asked if we could discuss getting back to normal. I said, you have been doing all the talking for the both of us for the last week. Why don't you continue, and left for work? I have an appointment with the attorneys my friend recommended for this week. TLDR. She did it anyway. I am actually more appalled by who she picked than the sex itself, if that is understandable. I told her to look for another place to stay. Top comment from 2. I can only wish that you've chosen to do what's right for you. At the end of the day, you're the one that has to deal with your decisions. From your previous post, it's clear that your wife, and I use that word just as a substitute, has made her choice. I know that having something that has been such a big part of your life end can be scary, but sometimes it's for the best. Top comment from 3. The BFF does not care about your well-being. The BFF wants to justify their poor choices by urging you to do the same. The BFF thrives on the drama they cause. The BFF is aroused by the details. The BFF fosters misery. The BFF is a narcissist who can't control themselves. So if the statement, just do it, you earned it. He doesn't value you. He doesn't honor you. And in my case, you confronted your own death, and you shouldn't let anyone stop you from doing the things that make you happy. Maybe realize that you should talk with your significant other and express what you are feeling. You have a duty to them to discuss how you're feeling about yourself, your partner, and your marriage. Comments from OOP. Yeah, once the reality hit me, I realized that I was clinging to something that was gone. I have started divorce proceedings. She has regret, not remorse. Of course, those are different things with different implications. She regrets what has happened because her life is chaotic now. Someone in a private message asked if her cancer could have returned and spread to her brain, which I don't know if it has or not, but I doubt it would matter to me at this point. I just don't view her the same way anymore. I told all her friends' husbands about how they facilitated this behavior, and the consequences are intriguing. I said that maybe they are protecting each other, that maybe my wife was just the next one in the line. This made them check their wives' phones. A couple found inappropriate messages, All husbands have forced their wives to cut off my wife. Update 2. My lawyer was busy for a few days, so I had to deal with the fact of having to live with my wife for the time being. I really didn't want to go home and have any conversation, let alone a conversation about our relationship. When I did get home, I was essentially attacked by her friends and my mother-in-law. Instead of taking the regretful approach, they chose to go all out, and I was basically scolded by them. The BFF was clearly the leader, but all of them decided to say things like, "She's been through a lot. You don't know what she's been through. You have no clue what it is like to face something like this. This was a one-time thing. At least she told you she could have kept it from you. She will never see the guy again. And my favorite, you are an idiot for what you have been putting her through these last couple of days." I listened to them with a dumb smile on my face, and when they stopped yelling, I asked them if they were done. Then I asked my wife if there was anyone in her circle of friends or anyone else that she forgot to tell about this. I told them in a quiet voice that I would sit with their husbands and talk about the way they had spoken to me, humiliating me and trying to force me into staying with a cheater. After I told them to leave, I said that I had no input in the whole event, and so they have no input in whether I stay or not. My STBXW kind of apologized. She said that she regretted the whole thing. I said there is a difference between regret and remorse. You regret what happened because of the consequences. You have regret because your life will never be the same. Our relationship will never be the same because you were completely and deliberately indifferent to me and what I wanted. She asked if I had any questions that she would answer them now, no matter how upsetting. I said that the one question I do have is, why? Not necessarily why this guy, why this low-quality, unappealing, unfit guy, but why someone else in the first place. She said that the cancer terrified her to her core. She felt like she was speeding toward mortality, and getting out of that tunnel was tempting. She said that after all this time of being a wife and mother and worrying about family, this was something just for her, a getaway. The guy was just someone who was interested in her for a long time, she knew wouldn't say no, and was totally different from me. I said if I was going to risk my marriage, the woman would have to be a serious improvement from you. I told her that I saw you and him coming out of the bar that night. I watched you walk away from the bar hand in hand towards the hotel. I said that you looked too comfortable with each other and asked if there was something going on before all this. She said no, but who knows if that is the truth or not. I told you that your disrespect for me was unbelievable after everything we've been through. I said that I couldn't live with myself if I accepted such treatment and remained with you. I wish that we could part ways peacefully and that I was meeting with a lawyer later this week. I repeated my request for you to move out, and you just said, "I'm not leaving. We're not getting a divorce. I'll give you all the space and support you need to heal from this. We'll overcome this." You suggested that we go to marriage counseling, which I declined. Why would I need counseling? I didn't do anything wrong that would require a therapist's help. I delivered the papers and told her to leave. She has moved to her mom's place, but I keep finding her dropping by to offer me help or propose things like, "What if you could see other people?" or "We had threesomes," which sounds very desperate and pathetic. I keep rejecting her and telling her she has to phone me and ask for permission before coming over, and it finally seems to sink in that we are done. She has threatened to prolong the divorce as much as she can, but so far she has cooperated. The hardest part of all this is telling my daughter that we are splitting up and why, followed by her pleading me to give her mom another chance. I doubt she would have done the same for me if I was the one who cheated. TLDR. We exchanged a lot of harsh words, but she has received the papers and has left. The next step is divorce, and I hope the mediation is fair and I don't end up losing everything. Few comments is here on his daughter. I think it was just an instinctive response. As time goes by and she grasps the situation better, she is getting more annoyed with her mom. On his wife, I adored my wife. I, and others, thought she was gorgeous. But now, after learning that she cheated with someone so beneath her, she is nothing to me, and I can never regard her the same way again. No amount of therapy will alter how I view her. Some question and answer, question. There must have been something going on before she went to the hotel. It's impossible that she chose and betrayed me with AP in just a few days. Replay. Women have an easier time finding sex. Perhaps they had an emotional affair before and this was the result. I have no idea, nor do I mind, unless it helps me in the divorce. As far as I know, her friends have abandoned her. They are so desperate to preserve their own marriages that they are betraying each other. Second question, after leaving your home, does she feel any remorse? Or does she still think you need to move on from today? Going NC with WW is supposed to be simple because daughter is now an adult. What last resort did she resort to that you didn't mention in your post and comment section? Replay, Stable and dignified, she maintained her posture until served. Afterward, she became visibly agitated and began to plead, and negotiate. Replay from comment. Did she cry? Did she have an emotional breakdown? I'm sorry for what happened to you. How can she not understand what she's done to you? It's surreal how it all happened, from beginning to end. It's like she had a manic episode or hypomanic break. You're doing the right thing in divorcing her. I'm sorry, but there's no love left in her. You haven't lost your self-esteem, and you made the right decision. Take care of yourself. Response from commenters. A lot of tears, a lot of begging and pleading after the fact, but that might be just for show. Maybe she has fallen out of love, and now she is unhappy with her new status. She is an attractive woman. She will have a lot of men who want to date her, but I am not one of them. Last response from commenters. Wow, great poker face. She really thinks she owns you. She was overconfident. If you ever feel the urge to blow the whistle, you could expose the affair to her colleagues, but that would be disastrous. Last response. I want her to have a steady job so I don't have to worry about paying maintenance, even if it's while she's out of the house. There's a girl at work who always looks at me attractive, so maybe I'll go out with her after this thing is over. This could be interesting on 2 levels. Last update. 12th of September, 2023. Things are pretty much the same. We are heading for a divorce, but we have to be legally separated for a year first, where we live. She said she would agree to any terms I want in the divorce, if I go to marriage counseling with her, but I don't want to. We had some back and forth to figure out how to live separately from now on, so we just settled on the terms of the legal separation. Maybe I will change my mind when we work on the divorce agreement. The house was mine before we got married, so she can't touch it. The only things she could try to get are my retirement funds and vacation home, but I would argue that she never paid rent for over 20 years and she has her own money and her dad's inheritance. I might have given her some extra money in retirement since she stayed home with our daughter when she was little, but that's the most I would do. I got a lot of messages about her friends and my daughter, so I will clear up some confusion now. My daughter is not on her mother's side. She was always close to her mom, but she is very upset with her right now. She was shocked at first and hoped we would fix things and stay together. Now she knows that's not happening. She has been avoiding her, but she is still her mom at the end of the day. The husbands of her friends were angry at how their wives helped and enabled the emotional cheating and cut off my wife, but that didn't last long. The BFF was the leader and seemed to enjoy making situations where they would be in touch, or at least pushing her to the point where her husband doubted her intentions. It turns out she hated me, and this was her way of getting back at me. I guess she got what she wanted. The BFF's husband said there was some sexting in his wife's messages, but he is handling it. We met up and he apologized for his wife's involvement, but it's not his fault and I just want to move on. I have decided to stay single for a while. I will never get married again, that's for sure. I probably won't post again unless she hits the jackpot and I somehow find it in me to forgive her.